Welcome to the OVAReact Podcast.
In a society that tries to put women in a box.
Let's overreact. It's your girl, Momo Hoya.
It's your girl, Angela Wamboy.
And we have the beautiful...
Lucy Mbuthia.
Amazing. We're super excited to have you on a scale of 1 to 10. How are you feeling?
8.
8.
Yeah.
How about you, Mishesh?
I think I'm feeling a solid 7. It's been a long day already, but a good day.
I think I'm at 9.5.
Ooh, we're trying to get on your level.
Yes. I can't let everything happen in the country and the cold, dampen my moods.
Oh,
so I'm
yes.
like, and my birthday month is around the corner.
Around the corner.
So I'm trying to...
August baby.
Yes, that's up the vibe. But tell us more about.
Well, shout out to all of our overreactors, and if you're new here, we'd like to welcome you. Don't worry, if you've missed any of the previous episodes, you can catch us online at Capital FM Kenya YouTube page, or you can follow us across our social media platforms at OVAReact Podcast on Instagram at SisterSpeaks254, and keep up with the action. And every once a month, we have a special edition. Tell them more about that, Mo.
Yes, we have the OVAReact Hour every last Wednesday of the month with the beautiful Anne Maura on the Fuse from 10 to 11. And we discuss everything women, everything trending that week. And of course, we have an all-female playlist where we get to, enjoy and feel the vibe. So make sure that you join us every last Wednesday of the month. And of course, you can go to our website, which is www.sisterspeaksglobal.org, and you can catch all the previous episodes from season 1 all the way to season 4.
Yes.
We want to give a big shout out to Lockwood Furniture for this amazing setup. You can check them out at 2 Rivers Mall on first floor if you're looking to, sass up your home, right?
Yes, exactly. So make sure you check them out. But today we are really, really excited because we have a pioneer in the building. And this lady is someone who truly is making waves across the continent when it comes to fintech and when it comes to reshaping, the financial footprint in the continent. And of course, she is none other than Lucy. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So before we... Oh, don't be shy.
That's fine.
Don't be shy.
Yeah.
You are not. Corporate body. Corporate body. Bring the energy.
Leave us behind our laptops. It's fine.
So Lucy, we're so excited to have you. But maybe for the overreactors that may not know you, just introduce yourself, but also tell us a fun fact or something that we can't find online about you that many people might not know about you.
Okay. So my name is Lucy Mbuthia. I'm currently the country director Kenya for Women in Tech Kenya. I'm also the program manager at Credible, which is a fintech startup across Africa. A fun fact about me is that I took a fashion course with Elle magazine.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
Look at that. We can tell because you put the pieces together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Deep
you
down.
just don't wear. You put the pieces together, right?
I love it. That's a good fun fact. I'm a fashionista. Well, we both love fashion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So talk to us about, your background. You talked about Credible. It does a lot of fintech around the continent. Have you always been in investment banking, fintech? Where did that start?
Cool. So first of all, I majored in petroleum engineering. So that was like a
How did you even think of that as
a big shift, right?
Yeah.
But I think the major challenge about that is that in Kenya, because we don't have oil fields, so it's very downstream, right? So my first career was at Hashi Energy as a treasury analyst, where you just trade commodities like in oil and gas. I think that introduced me to the world of finance. Quickly, I was really young actually. I was I think 21 or something. Yeah, quickly I moved on to Centum Investments. That's what I was saying. I can't imagine that we built 2 Rivers and then moved away from 2 Rivers. Yeah. So I moved on to Centum Investments, which is a private equity fund. I worked closely with James Moria as his strategy assistant. then moved to Two Rivers development. So like Two Rivers sits on like 105 acres, top of my head, I can remember. So our main aim was to bring investors here, like the cinema, the hotels, the apartments, etc. Then moved to Senegal to work for another private equity fund that is big in Francophone West Africa called AFEG Funds. I was there for like 2 years, but I think I was done with like private equity. So if you know how the private equity model works in Africa, like it's large ticket size deals, and we really don't have many large ticket size deals in Africa. So you'll find like if it's one deal that's happening, like for instance, if I can give you a private equity deal that happened maybe at Cafe exit or the Java exit, right? So like I can tell you for sure all private equity funds were looking at that deal. And I felt like that model was outdated because we have more younger companies that need like lesser funds and cannot generate the returns that private equity funds need. So quickly I shifted to venture capital. So I've done the whole like 360. I moved to Lagos, where I worked for a fund called Future Africa. And why I liked Future Africa is that they were trying to revolutionize investments by like if you have $1,000 every month, you can put it in like a fund, and it's like a rolling fund, and then that fund is used to invest in startups. But I think like my move to West Africa was really interesting because I think it sparked the need for me to like learn the markets better. And when I moved to Lagos, I was like, I can't continue like analyzing investments from like a desktop perspective, and I needed to be an operator. So I started working with a number of startups. Some have shut down, but yeah, I started working with a number of startups in Nigeria. Tried my own thing to do a startup. Will not try that again very soon, but yeah. And I think then moved to Kenya, where I got this role in this fintech startup called Credible. I think also my move just coincided with my appointment as the country director for like women in tech. Yeah.
Wow. You are so diverse and amazing.
What
I can't believe you studied petroleum engineering.
Yeah. How did that idea even get in your head? Like,
I don't know. I think like when you're out of like, so first I cleared high school like really early, and then now you have that waiting period. And I think for me it was just, I just needed to do something that was not so common because I was still not decided on what to do. But while I was doing that, I also studied like accounting. So like I am CPAK.
Oh
but also did CFA while I was at Centum just to learn more about like investments and stuff.
So naturally a very analytical person, 100%. Right brain versus left brain. So your career, like you mentioned, has spanned between East and West Africa. So we're just curious, maybe what are some of the differences in the startup ecosystem, East versus West, or, you know, when it comes to opportunities for women specifically in the fintech space? What does that look like, East versus West? You know, maybe you can also touch on some of the cultural differences or some of the professional opportunities.
So they're two completely different worlds, right? So I'll say like in East Africa, like a lot of the founders are predominantly male, also in West Africa, but I think what I saw especially in Nigeria, Senegal, like that startup market is just now growing, like Francophone is just now growing, so they're like a bit behind as compared to Kenya and Nigeria, which I'll use as a comparison, right? So in Kenya, we're a bit more, I'll say cliquey, right? So like, and I think you can see with where the funding goes in startups in Kenya, it's just like there are people currently on like their third startup, they're still getting funded, and people like on the initial startups have not gotten funded yet, right? So very cliquey, you have to be in the inner circles to get funded, for people to know you, etc. The thing that I liked about Nigeria is that they were very collaborative, right? Founders invested in other founders, like Cashwise as well. They could be doing the same. They could be in the same fintech space, but they were also investing in each other. And I think for most of the founders, they probably saw an opportunity for acquisition like you could be playing in one sector in fintech that I'm not playing in, but I see an opportunity for acquisition. Nigerians, as we know them, are typically like very hungry and hustlers, So they will do whatever. they need to do to get stuff done. But to just like credit, our market is very small in Kenya. Like we are working with we're 47 million somewhere a year, as compared to like 220 million market that has still not grown, right? So I think in Nigeria, I saw the need, and I felt like Nigeria helps you see the potential for Africa, because they are typically like the largest African population in the continent and out of the continent. Like they still hold the largest diaspora population of Africans. But it just shows you like you can actually build a $1 billion company, right? And we've seen a lot of unicorns come from Nigeria. The market in Kenya is very small, because if you're dealing with 47 million people, then now you still have to qualify that to maybe like 20%. So typically you want to deal with 20 million people. But something that is very interesting in Kenya, I don't say this like online, is our telco, Safaricom, has become too big for a lot of fintechs to really grow. Because if you're starting like a savings platform, if Safaricom starts a savings, because they already own the customer and they already own the loyal customer, right? I don't know like how the regulation will go around that at some point, but it's actually a barrier for like a lot of fintechs to grow in Kenya. However, in Nigeria, there was like a lot of room to grow. Their markets are so fragmented, etc. But back to your question on women startups, something I saw in Nigeria, and actually like I think 3 of my friends are actually running fintech startups in Nigeria, is how they build fintechs for women. And we all know how women operate. Chama, you save in a savings group, or you want to invest in tangible things like a farm, etc. So I saw them building fintechs out of communities, right? And 2 fintechs, Harvest and one by Ife, they had communities before and they spinned them off to fintechs. And I like that because you're really putting power in the hands of the women. So yes, you're doing chamas, but can you do more than the rotational, right? Can there be an app where all of you can collectively save your money and it's invested like somewhere? Yeah.
Interesting point. Of course, one of the operators, as you mentioned, they have the infrastructure, they have the customer. So when it comes to fintech, I think the chances of blowing up are kind of like shrinking, over time. And, you spoke to the point that many women in Nigeria, you have seen them creating with a community-based approach. And I'm thinking, could financial inclusion be one of their goals? Because, again, the reason why we have all these fintechs is to ensure an economic development and financial inclusion. That was very interesting, to hear you say that. But what is happening with microlending, microfinances? Have you seen a difference here, how they operate in Kenya and how they operate in the West?
Yeah, there's a big difference. But first, let me touch on what you said about like financial inclusion. And like when you're sitting on the investment side, every time you get like a deck from like our fintech startup, they say they're banking the unbanked. And that number keeps growing in Africa. I think currently we're at 500 million unbanked people. But if you think about it, how many people are truly unbanked in even Kenya? Very few people, because like from your mobile phone, you can access.
M-Pesa.
Yeah, you can withdraw, you can transfer. So, correct. And I think the problem with women is that they're not unbanked, right? It's financial inclusion means what other financial services are you giving them? Can they get loans? Can they get microinsurance? We know like women in Africa are the largest in terms of like SMEs, right? Are they getting business loans?
Right. Yeah.
But we've seen like the data shows that they're still way, way far behind than
a lot of barriers.
Yeah, than the men. And yet the data also shows that women run the most businesses in Africa. So like there's such an imbalance, right? However, when they say Kenya is Africa for beginners, it's truly Africa for beginners. It's really
the soft landing.
It's really soft landing because it's the Wild West out there. It's really payment is so fragmented in this continent, so fragmented. Lending in Nigeria is a completely different game because they do not have, here we have like a central bureau.
Yes.
So if I was to open a fintech today, if I want to check whether Angela has a loan, it's easy. So in Nigeria, they don't have like a central bureau. I know like the current central bank is trying to bring that, but they don't have like a centralized place. So you could easily be lending someone who already has like multiple loans. And that's why they resorted to non-ethical collection of loans, where someone just like WhatsApps everyone on your contact list to tell them that you owe money. Or like ruthless collections, like
send boys.
Yeah, send boys.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like your NPL, your non-performing loans will be up to like 90% null high. Yeah. Because also, not everyone has an identity. So it's not easy to locate me. It's not easy to locate you. Not everyone has an identity. So that's one. But what I've seen used to work is they were still doing the cooperatives model. Again, community, where like if women are in a market, they formally or informally, they always have like a head of that market.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So that person will be put in charge of distributing the money. It's very like offline, but it works perfectly. So they'll be put in charge of distributing the money and also collecting. So they will be going there like every day. Have you sold? Yeah. You owe me this much today. I collect back. So they were doing that cooperative model of lending. But like with the rest of the maybe financially savvy people, yes, they try lending, but they also vary because look, if you can invest your money in a T-bills and it can give you 16%, right? Why would you want to lose all the money? You get lending to people, right. Yeah. But they were very community based. So with my current role, I've seen like patterns in like micro lending, and I've seen like how important it is for people to be able to access finance on their phones. Because you can tell the patterns. You can tell these are business people, so they get paid every week, so they'll repay their loans. You can tell these are salaried or casual workers, so they'll repay their loans. But I think the only way to grow like our economies, we can't grow them without credit, because people can't progress without credit. Yeah.
So even just hearing you speak, even though Kenya is a smaller market, somehow we're progressing because we do have a way of streamlining things.
So in terms of lending, I'll say, and this is how like to look at the different markets. So Nigeria has 200 million people. So you'll think, big opportunity size, but very few quality. Kenya could be small, but you can get more quality.
That's what I'm hearing.
Interesting. Is there a point where you see us having a credit system like the US or the West? From where you're sitting,
like as Africa, we are steps behind that, because to have that first we need like a uniform currency. We don't have we don't have a uniform currency here. But hopefully, I don't know. I remember like when ECOWAS tried to have one, and all the West African countries were like saying, like they all wanted their different currencies. So I don't know if we'll ever have like a uniform. Gotcha.
So I want to switch gears a bit, touching on your experience in women in tech. So when it comes to looking at all the women in tech global chapters, so when it comes to Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, what would you say are some of the core elements that unite all of them? Is it the community building? Is it the conferences that they have? Is it the mentorship? Or is there something other that you would say?
I think one is first, yes, the community building. But I think because we are anchored by pillars, it's easy to see how like each chapter is adopting the different pillars across in their different countries. But yeah, I think we come together. We are in the same channel. We have like calls every month, just discussing like opportunities where we see synergies, etc. We also have like the global summits, Africa summits, where we can come together as chapters. But I see the uniformity in community building, but also like impact in terms of education and digital inclusion. I feel like that's like across all the chapters. I would love to see a day where we just do like one big initiative that's not like maybe a summit, like together as African countries. I think that would be really, really great. Yeah.
African women in tech. That would be dope.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Amazing. So I just tracking back from when you said you work in, energy, then you fintech, then tech. What are some of the key barriers you've had to overcome? And how has that changed over the years in terms of how you're trying to change the future generation of women in those spaces, in your own way or through the Women in Tech Kenyan chapter?
Yeah. So I don't think like in my career, I was very cognizant about like barriers, etc. And I think like majorly, before like fully moving into tech, like the barriers were not like a very stark difference. But then you come to tech and you're like, yo, why am I the only female person in this company? And it's icky actually. I think that's one greatest barrier. Like just how do we achieve like the gender parity? The other thing is, and I keep saying this all the time, right? For you as a woman, like just operating in your day-to-day versus a man, it's like two completely different worlds, right? But sometimes you have like night deployments and you have to be awake the whole night and then be there in the morning. I think Centum saved me because we used to do the 3 a.m.s and then still show up for investor briefings the next morning. So like I feel like I did that earlier on in my career.
Girl, that's still why you wake up at 4?
I wake up at 4 because I sleep at 8. Yeah, but I think that's like one key. The other thing is just like the salary discrepancy sometimes. And I usually say like nothing kills me quicker than finding out like someone in the same like maybe say job grade with is earning more. Like, oh my God, like that kills me. But I think one thing I learned, and I did this earlier in my career where I suppressed that. I think one thing I learned, just like bring it up. The worst they can say is no. But sometimes like I know like different organizations have different nuances, different environments. But I think, I think it's one thing to have like equal number of women, like just try and bridge the equality. But then it's another thing to make sure that they are compensated like fairly. And I don't know why people feel like it's okay to have this one bit where, we are now 35%, we have 35% females in our company. And then, but are they earning the same as the men? Like, are they,
against what?
Against what? Yeah. So I think those two, areas.
Wow. It's hard being a woman already, but to be in such a male-dominated space. So I'm just curious, you being the founder and the country director for the Women in Tech Kenya chapter, what was it that inspired you to start this movement? And maybe what is one moment that really helped define and, that was that rewarding moment for, this is a reminder of why I do what I do? Was it some of the challenges that you faced as a woman? Like, what really was that motivating factor? And what's that one moment along your career journey in being the country director that really affirmed your mission?
Like many things in my life, I know like people think like I've planned out like my life, but a lot of these things just happen. Like I get the opportunity and I'm like, So like how I ended up being like the country director Kenya. My friend is actually the country director of Women in Tech Nigeria. And she was like, we've been trying to get someone to lead the Kenyan chapter for so long, but we couldn't get, etc. is it something that you do? And I was just like, yeah. And I did an interview and but I think that's actually like an important lesson. And I think for literally like everyone, but like, most especially like women, don't wait to be ready. Yeah, like don't. When I said yes to that opportunity, I was still living in Nigeria. I didn't even know if I'd fully moved back to Kenya and when. But don't wait to be ready. Just like and that's like the actual difference between us and men. We disqualify ourselves fast before you can even be qualified by the person who is supposed to. So yeah, just don't wait to be ready. But I think for me and. I started working with a coach recently, and I was telling the coach, so like the Women in Tech work is like purely voluntary, but it's also like very tasking because you also have a day job, right? And you also have like all these initiatives that you want to do. You have a team that you've built, and you also have to keep motivating the team, just making sure everyone is working their pieces, right? But I was telling him, if I didn't have like this Women in Tech work, I'd be so empty. Like I'd be so empty. And I think for me, it's the impact. So I think I'll mention like three key areas. Number one is the community we built. So every Thursday on our WhatsApp group, we usually have this thing called like Tell It Thursday that is run by our community manager, where either people submit topics or dilemmas and things that they're facing, and we just put it out there in the open and people just discuss what's happening, etc. And I think the two heartwarming ones was when, because this were like, we're like, no, this is such a sensitive topic to put out there, was job loss, right? And I just liked how people are just like very vulnerable and being like, I also experienced this, but this is what I'm doing. Try and go out at least every week. Go for a walk, go for a run, upskill yourself, etc. Just like having created like a space where people can be vulnerable and communicate freely. And we had like one physical Tell It Thursday, and like this lady came all the way from Nakuru. She has 2 kids, works a tech job in AI. So I can imagine and is an engineer. So I can imagine how hectic her life was. But it was like really, really heartwarming to see that. And I think one of our directors always says that women always need a community. And I think just creating like that community has been, especially where people can share things freely, share jobs. People come out there and be like, oh, I'm a mom, I studied software engineering, I'm looking for a remote, like just where people can just like share freely. I think that's really good. The other thing is like, so we have like a couple of educational partnerships, and sometimes you don't know if people are actually like signing up for this stuff, like especially if you're working with the partners. But I think every time like we work with a partner and they give us like the stats and they're like, oh, 10 people studied software engineering this month. Like that really like shows that we are actually like really, really making an impact. We still have like a lot to do, but I feel like we're in the right frame of mind and we're actually in the right channels to do what we want to actually like do as women in tech.
It's incredible work you're doing, and to think that that's an voluntary role. It's incredible. But hearing these stories of impact and how people's lives are changing is truly, truly amazing. Let's talk about you talked about the power of community, and one thing we do at Sister Speaks, we're all about bringing the community together. And we're this August, we're going to unlock a new opportunity to work together in our Women in Tech branch, which is a knowledge sharing platform where we bring the tech leaders in the same room with people who are aspiring to work in tech. There's a track that you guys are leading on this. You want to tell our listeners what that looks like, the Innovation Challenge?
Yeah, and I'm really excited about this because I know like you called it like Women in the Loop, and it's so interesting when we were trying to brainstorm about this challenge and think about like the gender bias that women are facing. So the Innovation Challenge is Women in the Loop, AI against gender bias. And we picked like think 6 categories where we want to see like what women can build. I know we always say like women are left out when stuff is being built, like technology.
Yeah.
No one is thinking about like, yeah, we are going to space, but people are still dying giving birth, like, yeah, 1+1. But so I think those categories are really, really interesting because we have like reproductive and maternal healthcare, digital education and digital skills, access to markets for women-led businesses, financial inclusion,
Right.
yeah, gender-based violence and safety,
Yes.
yeah, which so like I'm really excited about that. I'm actually excited to see, especially because it's students who are building this. I'm really excited to see what solutions they can come up with and how technology can actually improve. Like these are such key areas for women's lives, like what technology can do there.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to see what comes out. You know, we're kind of rephrasing or reframing women from just being users, but being creators. So we're going to be seeing innovation that are built for and by women during the Women in Tech branch, which is happening on the 9th of August. And we want to see you there.
Definitely. You are such a wealth of knowledge, Lucy, and we love the way you are being a trailblazer in your own way and also creating space for women to have a seat at the table, especially in this fast-growing world of tech.
Thank you.
So yeah, like Mo said, we're looking forward to having you at the Women in Tech branch. Make sure you sign up.
Absolutely. For anyone who would like to connect with you, where do they find you?
LinkedIn for sure. Lucy Mbuthia. And our Women in Tech on LinkedIn as well. There's a whole sign up page on how you can join our community. Yeah.
Awesome. Take it as a way with a little quick fire side.
All right. So before we wrap up, we just have a few quick fire questions. So one of them, we're always talking about success, but what is one failure or setback that actually propelled your career forward in a very unexpected way?
So I think trying to build a startup and trying to fundraise and actually being out there fundraising and using like all your savings, etc. in building the startups and watching it like not grow. I think that was it. But I also think that it happened when it was supposed to happen and for a reason. But I think it taught me the value. I don't even think I was being a founder because I thought there's nothing special about founders. I can do it as well, right? I don't even think like my heart and everything was there. But yeah, I think that was like one key area, just like being like, oh shit, like I'm a failure. Like, does this mean I failed? But yeah, I think all founders should extend, and that thing is not easy. Like, just extend yourself like a lot of grace. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. If you woke up tomorrow morning and you found, we have achieved gender parity, what will be the next thing you'll be on, in terms of working for progress around that?
More women leaders.
More women. But there's gender parity already.
But does gender parity mean like
across the tech domain?
Okay, we have. Yeah, can you create just cities for women?
I like that.
Girls run the world.
Yes.
I like to hear.
Yes. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Love it. Let's take it away.
All right. So Lucy, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
And there's a sign out that we always do. So we'll just have you say, let's overreact. So I'll just say ladies and you say, let's overreact.
Okay.
As we get ready to close out. But before we do, we just want to remind you to make sure that you follow us across all of our social media platforms at the OVAReact Podcast, at Sister Speaks 254. And of course, you can find us on Capital FM Kenya YouTube page.
And of course, on our website, which is www.sisterspeaksglobal.org. And make sure that you connect with us and you can catch all the other episodes. And of course, you can connect with all the guests and you can be able to learn more about the Women in Tech branch on our website as well. So thank you so much for overreacting with us.
Ladies, let's
overreact.